some of the best people that go into management have no desire to do it. I feel like those are the ones that end up being the best managers, because the people who want to do it want to do it for a selfish reason. And it's just some people, that's what they have or that's what they want, because they don't have power in their real life. They seek that. They seek the authority inside of the workplace because that's the only place they can get it.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at Bamboo. Yes, I am sitting in the podcast room at the Bamboo Detroit location right now, which is where you have seen a ton of the Black Fridays podcast episodes. And the reason that is because Bamboo has been Black Friday's creative hub for the last couple of years. However, it's much more than our creative HQ. It's home to hundreds of entrepreneurs, creators, thinkers, and doers just like yourself. Now, whether you need a private suite that's customized to your liking so that you can effectively get work done, or if you need a space to be able to host a meeting or a conference call, Bamboo has flexible, creative spaces and a supportive community to match. Now, if you don't get anything from this message, I need you to do this right here. Go ahead, click the link to check out Bamboo's selection of private suites at any of their locations. That's right, any of their Bamboo co-work locations. And you can also find a link in the show notes as well to get those details. And it's time for you, that's right, you to join the Bamboo community. That's it. Time to get into the show. What up, though, Black Fridays family, and welcome back to another installment of the Black Fridays podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I need you to go smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, share some videos, drop some comments, and so we can continue to keep this thing going. Now that I got that out of the way, I got your favorite millennial manager in the building, Miss Brandi. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Thanks for pulling up on us on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
For sure. So the millennial manager, could you give us a little bit of insight into your world as to how does one become a social media viral sensation in the corporate space?
Well, one, I block folk. Okay, I've always done that, even before I started making content. I block people. I block their mama, their daddy, their cousin. I take the time to do it. Okay. One, because I don't want to see you. On my social media. I see you at work. Yeah. I don't want to see you. Okay.
So you don't play that no. Follow me on social media. We friends on Facebook.
Absolutely
and we work
not,
together. Okay.
Because we are not friends.
Okay.
We are coworkers. This is a team. We come here, do our job, and then we leave. Okay. I don't want to talk to you after I'm done. So I enjoy my job because I feel like I separate those things. So that's how I've been able to kind of maneuver and really under the radar, because nobody really know what I do at my job. Yeah. So I never talk about it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And how did you become to be the viral sensation of the millennial manager, in the sense of how did you decide to take the experiences that you went through in your professional career at work and then be able to generate that and turn that into content as a content creator on social platforms and on a fellow podcaster as well?
So I think it started because I was just at work, and it's just like a joke. If you running late, make sure you bring Brandi a coffee or get a hash brown. It's just like a joke that a couple of my team members have, right? And so I was at work, and during that trend last year, it was like, I'm a, millennial manager. Of course or whatever the trend was that people were saying. Yeah. So I just took some of the stuff that my team communicates, about me as their manager, and I made a video. And the video went viral. It went I want to say 8 or 9 million views. And I was like, you know what? I got a good topic here, because first of all, I enjoy being a manager. I love the work. I love my team members. I really enjoy working with them. I have, doctors that I work with that are just awesome. I feel like I got lucky with the doctors, because it can be a gamble. When you're working with so many different personalities, but everybody has been really great. And so I just applied some of those things that I have learned over time in being in management, and put it on social media. Some of the things that I practice at work.
Nice. And in terms of this probably plays into your virality, but you're very much yourself in terms of your content. And you would think that talking about different corporate topics, work topics, being a manager, you would be like more buttoned up, but you give it raw and real in terms of your content. So where does that come from in terms of like letting your personality out in that way, in terms of talking about, corporate America can be so stuffy and uptight, but what made you bring that flavor to your content?
I feel like it's just what people can digest. Like, I think I've learned over time that certain things can be communicated, even if it's a hard truth that somebody has to kind of receive. It's the delivery that can make a difference. And so I just kind of seeing what a lot of these people are doing online, where everything is very like, okay, this is how you level up in the C-suite and stuff like that. It's like corporate America is not like that. 100%.
Right.
There's a faction of corporate America that look like me. Number one, they're my age group. We're not that serious millennials. And it's just like, okay, how do I speak to these people? I'm going to talk to them just like I would talk to them regular, and I cuss.
Yeah.
In my regular conversation. So that's just how I communicate. And I add those little words in there, little colorful language. And people think it's funny, but it's like,
you very serious.
I'm actually telling the truth. I'm very serious. So I think that's just how I just kind of paid attention to how people can receive information and try to apply it that way so that it's digestible. You make it funny, relatable, and people eat it up. Yeah. You just got to be honest, be yourself. I think that's one thing that people struggle with online is they have like an online personality when it's like, that's just who I am, period. So if people are struggling with that, you just need to be yourself.
Facts. Facts.
Yeah.
That's why I love when I get in corporate environments and like I'll be in a meeting or something and somebody will drop a cuss word and I'm like, oh, bet. I'm like, all right, now we talking for real.
You know exactly what kind of space you are in. Right. Like, and I work with a bunch of men. Yeah. So they cuss.
They letting it fly.
They say a lot of colorful words and they are not, apologetic about the way that they talk. And I feel like that has also contributed to my confidence level because I work with men. I'm like, I'm moving like these men do. Right. They talk like this. I'm not any different. And that also has led to me being successful with the company. And managing 5 practices and, really growing within and being able to kind of, just move like they move and realize that I don't have to change the way I talk or, change the way that I'm communicating something for me to be accepted. I just need to be myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now it's time to have some fun on Black Fridays. I want to introduce you to my favorite part, which is Freestyle Fridays. Okay. So I don't know how many times I gotta say it, but if you have a brand or a business that you build in, then you definitely need legal protection. And I know exactly what your problem is. Too many of us wait until there is a problem in order to seek out these type of services. But guess what? This is the exact reason why I teamed up with the law office of Beverly Beal. They've got consultations and perfectly crafted legal templates for you to leverage at your fingertips. So because y'all Black Fridays family, this is what I'm going to do for y'all. If you head over to www.beverlybeallaw.com, once again, that's www.beverlybeallaw.com. You can hit the link in the show notes right now. You can get $25 off all consultations using a promo code BF25. That's BF25 for $25 off all consultations. Also, the contract templates that I know you need for your business and the projects that you've been working on, you can get 35% off all of those contracts by using the code BF35 at checkout. So all you have to do is head over to www.beverlybeallaw.com to lock in your protection today. All right, now let's get back into the episode. Brandi, I hope
we're not rapping, are we?
Oh, yeah, you rapping.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
My kids gonna die. They're gonna die. We're like, oh, my God. My mama cannot rap.
Now, if you got any freestyle for us or you want to sing, do some poetry, we can do that, or you can do the rapid fire questions. It's up to you.
We can do rapid fire because baby, no.
Right.
I cannot rap, okay?
For sure.
I can rap to a song that already exists that somebody made.
You're not coming up up with the bars on the
Absolutely
spot?
not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start with, speaking of bars and music, when you're driving to work, you're making that commute to work. What are you listening to? What's something you got on repeat right now?
Beyonce, that's my girl.
Okay.
I love Beyonce. Like that is my favorite artist. She's, oh my God, I've seen her twice in a concert at the Renaissance here in Ford Field in Detroit. And then we drove to Chicago for Mother's Day week to go see her. And I really want to go see her again. I would spend that money.
Is
so
that
if
good?
you're watching, girl. Yeah, I love her. I love Beyonce. And I've taken my daughter to the concert. The first time was my mom and my daughter. And then this time was my best friend and my daughter. And just seeing her, experience artistry, singing, the dancing, the theatrics of it all. I mean, top tier artist.
Nice.
Yes.
I believe you. I haven't been to a Beyonce concert. I don't necessarily have to go, but yeah, I'll take your word for it.
Yes, it is quite the experience. So that's my favorite artist that I listen to every day.
Nice.
Yes.
What is a funny situation that comes to mind that you have dealt with in your managerial experience, or something that has been like in proximity to you, maybe like from an HR perspective, anything like that? Anything funny that comes to mind?
Let me see. If I had to select one thing, it would be the joke about the hash brown, because they know I love them. Yeah. And so I would get to work one day and I come in after the team, because everybody has like different arrivals. So some team members have to be there at 8:30. Some team members have to be there at 9. Just kind of depends on what, number one, their availability. And then also when the doctor get there. Right. So I get there at 9 and I walk in and there's a hash brown on my desk. I'm like, oh, somebody was late today. So it's nice seeing that. It's just like a little inside joke, like, here, girl, here go a hash brown. But yeah.
Keep you off their radar.
Be like, I'm gonna say, I don't know who it was, but I'll see when I clock in who it was. But yeah.
Nice. Who would you say has been a big homie or mentor to you throughout your career that you would give credit to or shout out?
Oh my God, my boss. He is like, first of all, very, very smart. Okay. Very smart. And I feel like he has kind of pushed me away from feeling like I got to be nice all the time. There's just some things that just have to be, this is how it is. And I feel like he kind of pushed me in that direction and kind of, guided me towards that, because I think in the beginning of my managerial career, I wanted to be nice all the time. And there's just sometimes that it doesn't call for that. You can still be kind and not disrespectful. Right. But nice requires you to want to be liked. And that's where I struggled the most in the beginning, was trying to get people to like me. And he was like, these motherfuckers not going to like you. Yeah. And he said it that clear. He was like, Brandi, you are a great manager. These motherfuckers not going to like you all the time. And you got to be okay with that. And I said, you know what? You are right. So shout out to my boss. Like he is great, a great mentor.
Love that.
Yes.
And are there any podcasts that you listen to outside of your own, of course?
I love Black Friday. I really like the fact that you bring so many Detroiters here on the podcast, because I feel like an outsider sometimes. I'm a Detroiter, but I'm like a Southern Detroiter. I'm from the South. So I kind of lived in both places for a while. Okay. And I don't get to know, some of these people. So it's really nice seeing fellow Detroiters here on your podcast and kind of getting to know some of the people in the comments too, because I'm like, oh, okay, you're from Detroit. But another podcast that I really like is Here's the Thing with Kevin on Stage. Yes, yeah. Oh my God. Like him, I was listening to them actually on my way here. Right? Him and Angel, top tier comedy. Yes. Like will have you yelling, like screaming, laughing at them because they are so crazy. So yeah.
Just clowning
the
entire time.
Very funny. And stuff that probably should not be funny. Yeah. That's the other thing. Right. It's like, this actually is crazy, but the way that they're talking about it and they put that comedic spin on it makes it funny. Gotcha. So yeah.
And last but not least, what would you say you deem a career cheat code that you might have experienced? Like you said, I know you talked about your boss and how he's been a mentor to you, but is there like one thing that sticks out to you as like, this is a cheat code to elevate your career?
Shut the hell up. I'm telling you, boy, the things that you learn when you shut your mouth and really pay attention and listen to what's being said. Number one, right? Watch how people are communicating. You'll also be able to kind of diagnose what space you're in. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of times when people talk, you're talking to get your point across. And so if you're the other person on the receiving end of that, if you practice to be quiet and really just focus in on what people are saying, you're able to digest that information and apply it. Mm-hmm. And you can also just kind of know when somebody BSing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you talk a lot, it's hard for you to be able to diagnose whether or not it's a bunch of garbage in the room. And because I work with in dentistry, it's a lot of vendors and, you know, a lot of people come in trying to sell stuff, and I can kind of diagnose what that conversation is. Like, do you really like my shoes? Right. Or, you know, are you just trying to get us to buy this equipment and stuff like that? And so being able to know whether or not a conversation is a feasible one, I think that would have to be the secondary thing that I have learned.
That's a big cheat code. Mm-hmm. That's my normal disposition. And so like people have kind of been intimidated by that in the past. Well, like I've had managers that's been intimidated by that. Like, you're so quiet, I don't know what you're thinking. Like, yeah.
You don't need to know.
Like, number one, I'm trying to comprehend what's going on so I can effectively do what I need to do. But that's also, right. I ain't got a ton to say. Like if I, what we talking about? What's all the extra yip yap about?
I think that's where people kind of struggle in work too, in the corporate space, because you don't have to be mute. Yeah. But you need to be personable. Yes. Like keep the conversation in the workspace very, very surface level. Yeah. So you talk about the weather, you talk about sports, you talk about construction, city. Like it's so many stupid ass topics that you could just line up. Right. And talk about and not feel like you're divulging so much about yourself. Yeah. And that's the skill, right? Yeah. That's the skill that you learn over time, because we all done had that moment we were like, I probably should not have told you that. Actually, like right. I take that back actually. Yeah. And so, you know, kind of figuring out whether or not what you're talking about or what you're about to tell this person, does it solve world hunger? Mm-hmm. The answer is probably no. Right. Because if you had the solution to world hunger, you need to be on CNN. Yeah. You need to be on Fox. Like you need to be on a big, big, big platform. Mm-hmm. And so just being careful with what you say and you know, treading that line where people feel like they know you, but you really don't know me.
That's the key.
That's the key.
That's the key right there. Key. Well, thank you for partaking in Freestyle Fridays. You passed successfulely.
So thank you. I get a gift.
I probably should start giving out gifts. I need to get some little tchotchkes or whatever you call them.
I'll take it. Yeah. I'll take it. Next time if you do a lip bar gift, let me know. I love the lip bar.
Lip bar. If y'all listening, tap in with us. Black Fridays podcast. info@blackfridayspod.com. Hit us up. Yeah. And give me your email too, so they can hit you up directly.
I love
okay. All right.
She knows. I have a great love, and I even got my Harper Raid because I love Jillian them too.
Yes. Shout out to the Detroit ladies.
Yes.
So talk to me about your experience in terms of being a manager and like what was that build up in order to get into that position for you, and then what has it been like having people that you're responsible for and like navigating a team?
The beginning started with me just getting a job in healthcare. Like I took a receptionist position and kind of grew into that. So I learned insurance. I learned just like the, basic things that a receptionist needs to know. But I came from working at Circle K. I worked at Circle K. Good customer service. Okay. And that's where I kind of took that, like how I made that my play to get that job was the level of customer service that I had. And I learned and absorbed and then went to insurance. And then I moved to like a OBGYN office in Tallahassee, Florida. Shout out Tallahassee. Mm-hmm. But I moved to one of those offices and, learned a lot, moved into the medical billing department. And I just kind of absorbed everything. So whatever space I was in, I was learning. Like, I wasn't just there just doing a job. Like, I was there actually doing my job, yes, and absorbing information so that I can move on, because my sole purpose was to have a higher salary. That's what I wanted. And at that time, me and my husband, we was broke. Okay. Circle K, Tallahassee, Florida, ain't no money. So it's like, okay, I got to get out of this job making $7. Let me use my customer service skills to leverage, to get higher pay. And that's exactly what I did. And I turned that $9 increase, or I think I got to like 10, from 7 to, 14 when I went to the medical billing. And then I turned that into 17. Then I turned it into 18. Then I kept making sure whatever move I was taking, it was going to be for more money. And it wasn't because I love it. It's because it's necessary. We live in a capitalistic society. Yeah. And I saw the cost of living going up back in 2014, back in 2015. We knew when you start paying $1,100 way back then for a 2-bedroom, like, where is this really going? Yeah. And so we just always maneuvered in that way to make sure that we had enough. We only had 2 kids back then, but that was just something that we really wanted to make sure of, is that our kids were never, ever hungry. Okay. There's always something here for the kids. And so we just always navigated like that. And then I moved from that medical billing into dentistry. I don't know what made me do that. I think I was like 23. Best move of my life, because dentistry got a hold on me. It put the hooks in, like if something could really grab you, dentistry grabbed me. And I worked for the craziest man in Florida, I do believe. But I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot. I learned how to sell treatment. I learned how to elevate my customer service skills that I had already kind of matured into, but he showed me a little bit more through training. Like, he kept us in training constantly. I'm like, why we got to train so much? Why do we have to do this? Why do we have to do that? But it turned out to be such a beneficial tool in my life. I didn't realize it at the time that he was dumping hundreds of thousands of dollars into his team, but that was why. It was because we were selling treatment that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we have to be able to communicate with patients. Yeah. We have to be able to discuss $80,000 full arch, with a patient and not blink. Okay. That was like some of the things that we had to learn and be able to maneuver in a difficult conversation where finances are on the topic. Like, who want to talk about money? Especially in the dental office. Nobody want to talk about that. And so going from there, I took a treatment plan position, and the doctor that stole me from that other doctor, that's what he did. He came to the office and it was like, I know you hate it. I know you don't like him.
Come on over to death row.
Come on over to death row. You don't want to be with somebody all in the video. Right. Like, that's what it was. It was tough. It was a tough, working environment. And you were really judged on performance. And so if you did not perform, you did not meet goal, you did not get bonused. And I remember switching over to a different working pace, and it was much slower, still rewarding. And then I found I don't have to do all this crazy stuff that we were doing over there. Like, it's not necessary. And I told myself then, if I ever got into a leadership role, I want to make sure my team knows that there's a sweet spot. There's a place that you can excel and not kill yourself, like not stress, not be, worried about work when you leave your job. Like, that's just unnecessary. And I transitioned from that when we moved here, because we were living in Florida up until 2022. And so I took time off to kind of prepare for that move. And I was so like, I am not going back into dentistry. I'm done with dentistry. I want to move on to a different thing. And child, I worked at Amazon as a lead. Not for me. Okay. I love Amazon to buy things from, but I will never, ever work in that type of environment just because of the work. Like, it's a lot of like manual labor that I just am not, necessarily keen on. So I'm like, no, thank you. Yeah. And went right back to dentistry. And I was planning on just sitting at that front desk until my boss found out all the stuff I knew. He found out how I knew how to sell treatment. He found out that I knew how to do this, I do that. And he was like, come on. get up. You about to train these people. And he really pushed me into management. Like I had been a team lead. I had, led teams, but I was never in senior management. And I always thought it was because I didn't have a degree. I always thought that. And I'm like, if I, get these kids out, then I'm going to just get my degree. And it wasn't until he was like, you do not need that, actually. You have the skill. Right. And that's when I learned that I could talk my way into something and it be beneficial for me. Like I just need to make sure I pay attention to what I'm doing and make sure that I'm making good decisions along my way. But that's how I ended up into management, and it just kind of elevated from there. First I was just over my one office, and then he brought 2 extra people into the office and made me their manager, like for the entire practice, and then moved me from there. It was like, okay, you done made this one $1 million office. And when I started with them, they had 4 locations, but it was like $2,000 days. And if you work in dentistry or somewhere that's production, that is nothing. That's like dust. Yeah. And I'm like, let me show you how to schedule. Let me show you how to build production. And so I took one office that was like maybe 700,000 to 800,000 and made that 1.4 million. That one is 1.4. That's the main location. And then they added another one. And then I flipped that one from 500,000 to 900,000. And then they kept adding locations and moving me out of actually being in the office to where I started leading teams and team development and stuff like that. The different trainings and stuff that they would send me to. And then I hit 5. I'm like, I can do this. So over time, it happened. It seemed like it happened at lightning speed, but it didn't. It didn't feel that way. And that's how I knew that I had found a sweet spot in my career, was that I didn't feel like I was running 5 practices. I didn't feel like that. Like I still had time to live my life, go on trips, take my kids out of town. Cause me and my husband, we really valued that. Like, spending time with our kids and stuff. And it was just like, okay, I can still do it. And it just kind of been there.
That's amazing. Yeah. And what is it like leading people? Because I asked that question from the mindset of my experience. I probably had more, I'm hesitant to say bad managers because because
it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yes, bad managers, but probably realistically bad managers for me. Yeah. Because every manager is not going to be for you and be able to help you elevate and where you go in your career. But definitely some bad managers out there. I had some of those as well. But I from my experience, I've seen people have that like seniority in an organization. They just automatically kind of get moved into it, whether they want to do it or not. And then those are a lot of managers that you kind of see in a lot of corporate environments. But I wanted to ask, from your perspective, being a manager, what is it like, and like how do people kind of ascend to those positions when you see a lot of people that aren't necessarily qualified and or want to do it, that end up in those roles, versus the people that are like, no, I really want to lead people to try to help them meet their career goals and things like that. So just wondering, like, in your experience, what is that like?
I think some of the best people who, let me figure out how I'm gonna phrase this. Okay. I feel like some of the best people that go into management have no desire to do it. I feel like those are the ones that end up being the best managers, because the people who want to do it for a selfish reason. Okay. Control. Yeah. I know I can do this better than this person. Like I had no intention on doing anything. I wanted to just hourly pay, look cute, answer that phone, and that's it. Have a good day. Like that's all I was thinking about. But because somebody else, and I say boss, like our CEO, but we have a CFO, we got my lead doctor who is actually the owner of all the locations. They saw something that I didn't necessarily see. Like I just didn't feel like I was at that point because I had been rejected from that. Like in Florida, is like there are 2 Black managers. And that's it.
Yeah.
And so it's like everybody else, you go to the meetings and stuff like that, none of them look like me.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like I was just always going to be a team member until I got that schooling under my belt, until I got additional training under my belt, even though I knew that I had the capability to do the job. And I just kind of got comfortable with not. And I think that's why I was the better choice, because I didn't want it. I wasn't hungry for power, not crazy for power. And it's just some people, that's what they have or that's what they want, because they don't have power in their real life. So they seek that. They seek the authority inside of the workplace, because that's the only place they can get it. They can only control those people, or they have to control those people. So that's why I feel like the people who really want to be in management is probably not a good idea for them to want it, because what is the reason? Like, why do you want to be a manager so bad?
Yeah.
Like, what is that going to do for you? And a lot of times it's just control. That's what I really think. I feel like the worst people are the ones who really want it so bad, because they make decisions that aren't necessarily team based. It's based on their own selfish reason. So,
man, that sounds like some situations that the country might be in.
Oh yes,
yeah,
that's all I'm saying. I mean, there's a lot of correlation there.
I'm like, wait, that sounds all too familiar.
Who do you know that look like that or moves like that? Is he
allegedly, because you know you're listening. Allegedly,
right.
Yeah, allegedly.
They'll stop you. I got a flight next week. Okay.
We don't need them pressing you like, yeah, you was on that podcast.
What's your name?
Yeah, right.
I have to take my glasses off and be like Clark Kent. They can't recognize me.
And I, of course, I want to ask you, do you have any advice for people who are interested in managing people for the right reasons? How can they get that leadership experience in order to be considered for those type of opportunities? Because I think that, just thinking of my career, I know that where I am now from an age perspective and then also career perspective as well, one of the things that I realized that I have leadership experience in terms of like cross-functional teams and things of that nature, but not anybody who directly reports to me, like on paper, like, you know, I'm their next higher up. So wondering, you know, what does that look like for people who would consider being in a manager role in the future for the right reasons? Once again, how can they put themselves in position to do so?
I think starting at the team lead level is probably like the most natural thing. Like, I feel like you go from being a team member to a team lead, because the team lead is not necessarily a manager, depending on what the organizational function looks like. Yeah. But a team lead is somebody who is going to rally the troops. Right. This person is going to be not necessarily in charge of everybody, but they're able to kind of keep people on task. And I think that the team lead route is probably my best function, like my best suggestion. But I also think a leadership person, like a person that has like a good leadership quality, is going to be a leader, whether they're a team lead or not. So if you can't lead by example as an employee, then you probably would not be a good manager. Yeah. And so it's like, it starts there, you know, before you even become a team lead. Like, how are you leading by example as an employee? Like, are you training people to do things incorrectly? You know, you're supposed to be at work on time, because I talk about that a lot. While I understand that there are just, you know, barriers to getting to work on time, is still a requirement. Yes. So instead of you having excuses all the time, let's figure out a way to do it.
Right. Put the bottle down the night before.
Yeah. Like, and then also go talk to EAP. If you feel like you got to do that after work every day, you need to go talk to the people. Okay, that is necessary. I'm a big advocate for therapy. Talk to them people, yes, go talk to that lady. Go sit on that couch. Yes, go get the help you need if you feel like that's a requirement. Right. But just how you lead in general, without even having that label on you. If you got to be called a manager in order for you to lead, then you're probably not going to be a good manager. You just need to focus on leading by example where you are, and then the opportunities will follow you or open up right in front of you sometimes. Like, you will get chased down by opportunity when you kind of lead with integrity already. Like, have the integrity. Be honest. For those of us who don't know what integrity means, are you good when people not watching?
There you go.
Are you telling the truth? Are you a liar?
Right.
Like, you need to know.
Right. Are you throwing your team under the bus when things go sideways?
Oh my God. How long do we have? How long do we have?
Hey, I got some stories.
Because that blame game thing, like that's a surefire way to know that you got a sorry manager. Because if when things happen, as the leader, whether you did it or not, you're supposed to take responsibility on how to fix it.
Right.
And a child sit there and try to find out who did this and who did that. I'm not a child.
Yeah.
You know, we are adults. And now that we know that the mistake was made, how do we move past it? How do we make sure that it doesn't happen again? Like, what are some things that we can do to improve? And even just this week, we had a breakdown in communication, and I had to accept responsibility for that breakdown. Was I the person that made a mistake? No, but it was a team member of mine that made that mistake. So I took accountability and figured out a way that we can improve communication so that this person does not encounter the mistake again. So that's how you kind of, recognize that problem and then lead by example by fixing it and not necessarily getting stuck on who did what, because that doesn't matter.
Right.
It's like, what happened? How do we fix it? Here's the solution, and that's it.
And on the flip side, can you talk to people about how they can make sure that they are prioritizing the things that their manager deems important? Because what I've learned in my experience is that it's not always about like, what are your duties by the book? It's really about what does your manager care about, and how do you make sure that you are appeasing them to a certain extent.
Communication. Like, you need to kind of know whether or not this person is focused more so on the collaboration, like of a team, or if they're more focused on individual responsibility. So first you need to identify that. Like, is this person more like a rallying person where they can bring everybody together and everybody has these different responsibilities and kind of collaborating on tasks? Or if they're like, you are responsible for this, I need you to do this, and this is your responsibility and very by the book, or very much by the book. And so you need to identify the type of audience that you have. And I'm gonna tell you, that is like your biggest asset as a employee, even as a manager, is to know your audience. Who are you talking to? You need to know the person that you're looking to meet the need of. And so if your manager has communicated, okay, this is what I want to see, then follow that. Yeah. Like, a lot of times people want to be, I'm going to do what I want to do. Right. Okay. And that's how we end up in these situations. Yeah. Because we want to do what we want to do. Yeah. And so a lot of times it's laid out black and white. If your manager is not very clear with communicating, then I would follow the guideline that the job has given you, but then also follow up. Like, a lot of times a part of being an employee is managing up. So getting to communicate with that boss or communicate with your manager and, having that rapport there, especially if you're newer, they have people who already exist in the position or in the company. So they don't necessarily know you. And it's just as much as the manager's responsibility to try to build that bridge. And so it's a collaborative effort to kind of get that understanding of what that looks like. But communicating with your boss is going to be top tier. Love it. I'm telling you, like, visibility also. Yes. Please. Yeah. Are they watching me?
Yeah, they watch you.
Let them see you. Okay. A lot of people's problems is that they want to fly so far under the radar that people don't really see you or the value that you bring. And I hate to say this term, but to the table. I mean, it's just a reality. It's a job. They're paying you to do that job, and you need to be visible. Yeah. So am I saying that you need to be in their face all the time? No. But you need to be like a phone call away, or someone who initiates that point of conversation so that they always remember, like, okay, this person is here. Yeah. So making sure that you are visible is very important.
That's powerful. Yeah. All right, enough about work. Let's talk about creativity, because you have been, from what I've seen, create phenomenal content. That's how you've been able to build your following. So when did that become a thing for you to be able to generate these videos, put them out there, have people engaged on them and learning things from them? When did that dial kind of turn to say, I want to start pushing out content?
I think I started making content like 2020 when everybody else did. I feel like we were stuck in the house. It was just making videos, but it was more like fun, family stuff like that. And then I kind of realized that the kids weren't necessarily interested in it anymore. They were kind of becoming teenagers at that point. And so I was like, let me turn the camera on me. And I just did like stay-at-home mom content because for like 6 months, I was at home with our youngest and with the older 2 kids. And I'm like, okay, we're, making stay-at-home content. This is what we're focusing on. So I just kind of did that. And once I went back to work, I stopped. I was like, I don't think this is going anywhere. I think I had got like maybe 21,000 followers across platforms. And I'm like, and it's like 5. So it's like, yeah, I'm actually tired of this. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But I still loved creating content. I still like, discussing different topics. I love political conversations. And I would do that from time to time, but I wasn't consistent. And that day when I was at work and I was just like, I'm going to record this video. I had no idea that it was going to do that. And I definitely did not know that people would be in the comments asking me questions. And that's what started it. Like somebody asked a question like, well, how do you do this and not get ran over? Like, how do you do this or be this type of manager and not encounter people taking advantage of you? And you can't avoid those things. It's going to happen. If they want to do it, it's going to happen. But your decision is, are you going to let it? That's where that boundary is. Like, that's where you create boundaries for your team. And it just kind of grew into that. And I just started every day. I would get up and record 2 videos. And I don't necessarily content plan. Okay. Sometimes I'll just have something that's on my mind and it's just kind of sit into the drafts until I realize like,
I think
it should go
for me,
out.
I think that's the best way. That's the best way to do it. That works for me. Like if I think of it, do it, and then at least have it in my phone to edit, or like you said, have it in the drafts. Versus like I'm going to post this on Monday and this on Tuesday.
No, I can't even do that. The podcast is even like I feel like it has to be like that. Otherwise, it just becomes what everything else is. Very scripted, not my raw emotion, not like my raw thought of how I feel about a situation. And there's some things that I do have to be more calculated about. And you can see like some political talk I don't even engage in because number one, I know it's going to piss me off.
Right.
And a minute and 30 seconds, really, you cannot get like the nuances of the war in the Middle East. Like, you can't do that. So it's like some topics of conversation I kind of stay away from because I know that it's just going to create a continuous conversation that I don't necessarily want to participate in. So I just am kind of careful about that. I'll do it in my stories or stuff like that where it's a little limited or even on Patreon. But for the social media aspect, I just kind of keep it to work and other things like my kids or being married and different outfits that I like and stuff because I'm a woman. So that's another avenue for me to kind of relate to my followers because it's majority women that follow me. So yeah.
And then what about the feedback that you've gotten or like the community that you've been able to build? How has that been a thing for you and like engaging with them and meeting new people? We talked about somebody that we follow and comment that you've been able to build a relationship with. So like, what has that journey been like?
That has actually been very interesting. I think people are very surprised that I'm the same. So like they feel like they're like, oh my God. I'm like, girl,
like this ain't no act.
Hey girl. Like it'll be like people in the store be like, are you Brandi? I'm like, yeah. Hey girl. Like, can I talk to you? I'm like, yeah. Like I did a little session inside of Nike the other week because somebody was having a hard time. But I'm very much like I am on social media. I mean, I'm a little bit I can be introverted. It just kind of depends on the scenario. But for the most part, I'm the same. And so I think that has been like an adjustment for people. But I really love meeting a lot of my supporters. Like I love the rallying that they do. And like last week I had a rough week. So that was like really tough, like dealing with that situation or that scenario, and seeing the support that I got from it, and just like the love, the emails, the text messages, everybody was just so supportive. And so just really building that community and having that vulnerable moment with them, it was nice to see that these people like listen, like they understand what I'm going through. They go through it too.
Yeah.
There's some people that experience some of these things. And so that was just nice to build that and kind of connect with people that I probably would never ever see or meet. Yeah. And so that's really nice. Like the person you were mentioning, earlier, I have built such a good relationship with her. Like, I just really feel like she has become a friend to me. And I've become the same thing to her. We talk and it's FaceTime and stuff like that. And so that has been very nice to meet, people on that level. So, yeah.
That's amazing. And I can identify with that as well from just being able to have this podcast platform, been doing it as long as I have. And then even like from social media as well, like I got different fellow podcaster homies that I talk to now and engage with on social media. Like they go to each other's events and things like that. So it's really been dope to just be able to engage with the audience or people who like respect the craft in that type of way. And then I always used to get like, you look like somebody I know, like what's your name? You like somebody I know. I always used to get that for whatever reason. Like I look like somebody cousin or somebody somebody relative, but now it's a little bit more amplified. They're like, I've seen you somewhere before. And I'm like, oh, my thing is I don't owe you no money, do I? And then once we get past once we can get past that, then okay, we can have a conversation. But yeah, no, that's definitely the beauty behind it as well. And I was going to ask you, if you don't mind sharing the situation in terms of why you were having a rough week last week and how your community was able to rally around you, because I think it kind of like sets the table, pun intended, for you, the direction and trajectory that you're already in, and probably, a nudge by the big man or a person above universe to be like, hey, you might, this is how this is supposed to go down and not the other way around. But if you don't mind, sharing that.
I can definitely share. So just like a little synopsis was, I applied to be on some of these conferences that's happening during the summer. And you send your application out months in advance and see like, okay, is somebody gonna, pick me? Do you get chosen? And it's like one of those big things for, especially in the career space. I feel like that's the validity that a lot of people look for, is the conferences, because if they see you on a conference, they like, this person is legit. You know what I'm saying? I think that I felt like that would legitimize the conversations that I have online. I felt like that was what I was looking for. And I got 8 hell no's. Like one of them was very like, girl, you don't necessarily fit what we're looking for. Yeah. And that kind of broke me. I think that was the one that was like,
for real.
Like, what? Yeah. Like, what exactly are y'all looking for? Like, what aesthetic do I not fit? And it just kind of made me feel a certain type of way about myself. And it was one, or actually a few, that just kind of left me on red. It was like, girl, we read it, but we're not really, looking for anything. And it just kind of made me feel like, what have I been doing this last year? Like, I kind of built the platform from nothing. Like there was no topic like this in this way at that time. And I just kind of was like, I felt like, I don't know what to do. Like, that's exactly what I felt. I felt confused. I felt rejection, because that was a real thing. I mean, and it just really broke me down. And so I had a little cry session, y'all. I might take the video down, because I don't like when people comment and I go back and I see myself looking like that. It's like, baby girl, you just want to talk to yourself and just lift yourself up when you see those moments like that. And it was just such a raw feeling that I was feeling right there. And I had just got the last one before I got before I recorded that. And I was sitting in the McDonald's parking lot because I had pulled over. I saw the email come over. I'm like, okay, I got to, pull over. I pulled over. I'm like, I'm about to go get a damn McDouble.
What's that video about a little something take the edge off?
Listen, I need to put a damn cheeseburger. That's what I needed. Because I'm like, I need to be done with no onions, okay? Because I'm actually stressing.
Right.
And I was just so in my emotions or in my feelings about the whole thing. And that's where, it kind of came from. But it definitely put a battery in my back when I started getting feedback from, people who I have followed on social media for a long time. Mm-hmm. And they got in my DMs and in them emails. And it was like, girl, you finna come to this conference. You finna come here. Like, and it's conferences I didn't apply to that I just wasn't aware of, that I just didn't, understand that they existed. Yep. And it's like the core 8, especially for Black conferences. I think that's the other reason why I was mad. Oh, so I'm like, these my fellow what?
Right.
Girl.
Are y'all kinfolk?
Like, are y'all really? Are y'all really what y'all say?
You don't find that suspicious?
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what is that? Like, what do you mean? And then when I started looking at the caliber of people that they started posting, I'm like, you're right. I don't fit that. That's why I'm building my own shit.
There we go.
Because I ain't got time for whatever this game is that y'all like to play.
Right.
I don't want to talk about this is how you, get to this level. It's like you're telling these people how to get to this level, but you ain't telling them that they got to deal with Beth.
Come on now.
After they get up in there, after they get this job, you're not telling them how to navigate with a difficult boss.
Come on now.
Like, those are the things. That's a skill.
Keeping it too fluffy.
Yeah. You're telling them, okay, this how we land this job in 5, that
just
mess.
Try your best.
Oh my God.
Give it your all.
Just grind, and telling people how to put together a resume. While that is great, that is, okay, I get this job, but you're not telling me about the office drama, how to navigate, how to, communicate with somebody that overtalks, like how to communicate with somebody that overshares, makes me uncomfortable. My boss makes me uncomfortable. What do I do? How do I file a claim with the EEOC?
Right.
Those are the things that people don't necessarily know because the content is not there. And it's just like, okay, I have to do my own thing. And that's where I am. Mm. So if that job mini conference,
there we go,
is coming soon in September, and it will be in Detroit. So make sure you are following me so that you don't miss the link, okay? Because it's a limited amount of people.
Are you thinking one day, multi-day? Like what's the...
It's going to be a one-day event. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be a one-day event on a Saturday, more than likely, is our day that we're looking for. Mm-hmm. And it's just going to be an in-person, meet and greet. But we're going to be talking about these like really nuanced experiences that you have working in corporate America. Yeah. Especially as a Black woman. There are just some challenges. Like as a Black man, there are challenges. And really talking about those things that make people uncomfortable to discuss in the workplace. That it has to be talked about. These are elephants that exist. Like, how do I share how much I make? Do I tell that? Do I reveal that? I know salary transparency warriors, they love that. Yeah. But child, please. Yeah. I'm not telling you how much money I make so you can be counting my pockets.
There you go.
I also don't tell people where I'm going, what I'm doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm having a quiet weekend. Yeah. Okay. Listen, I like to knit.
I didn't do it. I just went outside.
Yeah. I'll be in Dallas.
Yeah, right.
Okay. And I took a one-way. You don't know what I'm doing. I'm back at work on Monday.
That's all you need to know.
That's right.
Whatever questions you ask me, I'll answer them.
I'm telling you.
Ain't nothing changed.
Yeah, and that's how you keep the not suspense, because I don't want to sound like I'm trying to live a secret life or something, but that's how you keep your personal business your business.
Yes.
You ain't got to share everything. Everything don't have to be revealed in the workplace. And you have to be careful also about what you reveal, because I feel like some things make you a target. Yeah. People knowing how much money you make, or even talking about the things that you're doing can sometimes make you a target in the workplace. And for some of us, you're probably like, absolutely not. My homegirl this. I'm like, okay, make more than your homegirl.
Exactly.
Drive a nicer car than your homegirl.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah. And don't be happily married. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Some people can't stand their husband. Can't stand their wife.
That's why they come to work.
Like, I love my husband. And they like, you know, he ain't that perfect.
Right.
He ain't this, you know,
Right.
and I learned that a long time ago not to share because it was a bunch of women that was going through divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm up here talking about how good my husband is. I'm like, maybe I need to stop talking to y'all because y'all are actually Debbie Downers up in here.
Right. Those are tricks of the trade. So I definitely look forward to seeing how that comes together. And as I mentioned in the comments, I caught the video a little late, but of course, let us know how we can support. Let me know how I can support and more. We'd love to be able to see that. We need it. So yeah, however we can, whatever we got to do to stand that up for
Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I got to ask you about the Millennial Management podcast and just want to talk to you briefly about your podcast journey and how you've been able to leverage this in order to also have your own thing outside of work as well. So if you could talk to us a little bit about the podcast and then also the opportunities that you've been able to build with that.
So with the podcast, I have been able to, first of all, really get to talk about things that people are just like, you know, kind of, it's a candid conversation. Like I call the people who listen to me Betties, right? When they write in, I don't say their name. I don't tell where they work. So they keep some ambiguity. Oh Lord, that word about to eat me up. I'm Southern. Okay. But, you know, keep it private. And we talk about things that are just like very difficult to acknowledge that this is happening to you. Like people get looked over for raises or for promotions and they're standing in the gap for the position, but y'all ain't giving them the position. You're looking for somebody outside the corporation or outside of the organization. And they're that middleman, that interim person that's holding it down. And the defeat that you feel from that is monumental. And you can't really talk to everybody about that because everybody doesn't understand, you know, what that looks like corporate wise and how you still got to save face and smile when Sally start that job.
Yeah.
You know, and also like navigating what to do after you get that door slammed. Like, how do we navigate this? So talking about conversations that I just don't necessarily see online where people can write in and discuss about like their concerns in the workplace. Maybe they're having an issue with FMLA. Maybe they're having an issue even like with finding a job, period. Like, are there some things missing from my resume that I need to improve? And so I read those emails and kind of base an episode around it loosely. And then that's how I kind of go from there. But I've been able to really build community, even in the podcast, like separate from social media. That has been really nice because I see the ratings and the comments and stuff. And I'm like, okay, y'all, period. You're like, I really like this conversation. And just being able to connect with the listeners in a non-visual way, because I feel like we all got a little bit of ADHD now, I think. So, you know, it's nice having people be able to listen and be able to consume the content in a different way. So, yeah.
Love that. Do you have a broadcast channel on Instagram?
I don't.
You got to make one. You got to, because that broadcast channel go crazy.
You're going to have to show me how to do that.
I'm going to show you when we wrap this. I got you.
Because I seen that, but I'm going to tell you, I'm not that like social media savvy. I can do a lot of things, but it's like certain ways on Instagram is just very complicated. So I don't even fool around with it because I don't want to mess around and upload something or put something in there, and I don't necessarily know how to navigate it. But show me how to do that.
I got you. And before we wrap up, would you deem yourself a creative? Because I know, like, obviously you've been able to build this professional career for yourself. Now being able to leverage the things that you learn and experience and being able to do that in a creative way. Would you always kind of have deemed yourself a creative, or is this something that's newly found?
I think what I thought was creative was something totally different than what I'm doing now. I felt like being able to bake cakes from scratch, being able to draw, being able to kind of put things together, interior decorate. And those were the things I deemed to be creative. And it wasn't until I kind of matured a little bit into this when I realized that, no, this is creativity, because I'm kind of reaching to the left side of my brain and finding these topics and connecting the left and right and bringing real topics inside of the workplace with a funny way to communicate it and being able to kind of engage with the audience and marry those two things. I didn't always see myself that way. I just kind of was like, God left that out. I'm just too damn logical.
Yeah.
Like, he left that part out. When he made my brain, he was like, logic.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think I just had to mature and grow as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, and really live life before that side actually was able to open up. Because that was later on in life when I found content and creating and stuff like that. And then now that I'm 35, I've only been really like big making content for a year. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, it's very new and experiencing it has been surreal. But I do think that now I can say that I am a creative. So yes.
Love it. And I got to touch on this because we're talking about millennials, and me and you both are millennials in the same age bracket. Yes. You mentioned you're 35, and I just want to know, do you feel like young and old at the same time? Like, do you feel like smack in the middle? Like, how I get here? Like,
oh my God. It is so weird because we are like the least serious generation. I feel like the people under us are like way too serious, and then so are the people over us, and we're in the middle, like we just kind of play around and keep it, you know, fun and fresh. But I do feel like we're in this young old part, you know, of our lives. You know, we're in how old are the ones in the 80s? They're almost 50.
Yeah.
They going towards 50.
60s.
Yeah. So they're heading towards 50. And I think that, you know, it's so funny seeing people who were born in the 80s still act like us.
Yeah.
And we were born in the 90s. Yeah. I just feel like that generation together, I just think we are very much childish in a lot of ways. But I do also think that helps us give like a different lease on life. That I feel like we're able to look at life more for what it is instead of what it should be. Yeah. And I think we kind of accept reality, and then we're like, okay, this is what I can do with this. And so we are very much the generation of making lemonade out of lemons, because we got to serve some bitter shit.
Yeah. Come on now. I could run down the list of stuff, but we ain't even got time.
All right. Like the country is in turmoil.
Right.
Every day we wake up, it's just a new president. Like, I am tired.
Exactly. So, exactly. And we lived through the Bush administration. I thought that was the pits, but
baby, no. That was just the beginning.
That was the beginning.
And then we had some hope. That's how life played with us. Yeah. We had Obama. And then we got this crazy man. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on with this country? Yeah. And then we got hope again. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, actually, no, we're going to snatch it away for a little bit.
Like, y'all good. I'm just playing.
Much longer this time. I just feel like it's going to be a long time when we see a glaring light of hope. I do feel like, hopefully not. Hopefully I'm wrong. I feel like, you know, hopefully the country realizes the error that it made. Yeah. I know my people, we did right. And I just, you know, hope everybody else kind of joins the bandwagon because they are actively, you know, terrorizing everybody.
There we go.
I would rather not be terrorized every day in the country. I got to pay taxes in.
Exactly. Okay. Come on now. Now we really talking.
Because they still taking it out of my check. I don't understand. I thought y'all didn't need no money. The government was too big. You're still collecting.
Uncle Sam said that's between y'all.
That's what I'm saying. I need what I need. Iris is still taking money. What are you doing, girl? Right. Y'all said y'all was too big. Y'all want to minimize the government. Why do you still need my money?
Right.
FICA and all that. And her cousins. Right. Like, what are you doing? I need to know what's going on with my money. They have yet been able to answer also. I asked that question in February.
Come on now.
Because I got that check after that damn thing. I'm like, why am I still... Why do I still have to pay taxes? I don't understand.
All the wonders.
Yes. Yeah. Still ain't been able to answer that question.
So, Brandi, what's next? What's in your crystal ball for what you have on the horizon, and what do you see in the future?
What's next is our mini conference. So, my husband and I, we are working on the FTJ mini conference. It's going to be small here in Detroit. But then on a much grander scale is the larger conference that I think will also take place here, you know, as well.
Okay.
But I need some sponsors. So
Yes.
I might be hollering at Bamboo. But, you know, that I did write my first like sponsorship letter.
Nice.
So I did that this week.
Nice.
And I'm getting ready to start sending some of those things out so that we can get ready for next summer, because I want to be a contender. A lot of these conferences are years in. And I feel like the social media aspect has kind of helped me build to this point.
Yeah.
And so instead of me being on other people's panels, I'm going to create my own. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You deserve it. So
Thank you.
Shout out to that. Shout out to that for sure. So Brandi, where can the people tap in if they want to work with you? I know that you also offer services as well, like consultations and resume reviews. People want to tap in with you. Where can they find you? Your social, website, all that stuff.
I am Brandi, the Millennial Manager, everywhere pretty much. If you want to listen to that podcast, I'm on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, Audible, pretty much everywhere you listen to podcasts. And that's the Millennial Management Podcast. And then Brandi, the Millennial Manager, on all social media platforms. My website is in my bio. So you just click that link and look for an appointment, and they fill up quick. So I think I got 3 appointments. I opened 4 additional appointments today, and there are only 3 I opened it before I got here. Okay. And somebody already booked.
Got you.
Book one. So if you want something, you want that resume read, you want the, you know, conversation, like a one-on-one communication about an issue in the workplace that is very specific, that, you know, really cannot be handled over a video or a DM, or maybe you just don't want to wait. Book that consult. We can sit down and talk about it. And sometimes they go over an hour, but I only charge the $50 for the 1 hour, because I know it's a laboring session. Yeah. And I know these are working class people. So I keep that in mind with my pricing, as far as like services that I do one-on-one, because I want to make sure that I'm not out here robbing nobody. Yeah. Okay. We talked about integrity in the beginning. Right. So yes.
Love that. Well, Brandi, thanks for pulling up on us to the Black Fridays podcast. Very much appreciate it. And you got a new fan in terms of content and also the podcast in me. And I added it to my podcast follows. So I'm locked in now. And just grateful for you sharing your story with us. And I love the intentionality behind what it is that you do, because I know that I've had people that looked out for me at work the way that you talk to your audience. So I know how valuable that is. So definitely grateful that you have decided to take this path and be able to encourage and uplift people via this platform.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me also. I'm so glad that we finally got a chance to meet. And I really love your podcast. Like I said before, I enjoy you having Detroiters on here. I think that is monumental. I don't know how far you're trying to go in the political space, but I do see you heading there, my brother. Of having people like, you know, big names, not just here in Detroit, but, you know, you're venturing out to statewide politicians. You done had statewide here. And I see it going, you know, much further than that. So just keep pushing and stay encouraged. I really love what you're doing. And I can't wait for the next episode.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah. And everybody that's watching and listening, we're going to tap in with y'all soon. Peace.